Heard from Sakyaras about was in intensive care in Edinburgh and was ready to leave his body. The boys are going on my way. Can't believe how it happened to Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra
So it's Majjalila chapter 15, text 200. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offers prasad. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's wife, known as Charitamrita, the mother of Sati, she was a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and she was affectionate, like a mother. After returning to his home, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave orders to his wife Charitamrita, and she began cooking with great pleasure. At Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, there was always a full stock of food. Whatever spinach, vegetables, fruit, and so on were required, he collected and brought back home. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya personally began to help Charitamrita cook. She was very experienced, and she knew how to cook nicely. On the southern side of the kitchen, there were 2 rooms for offering food, and in one of them, the food was offered to Shalagram Narayan, purple. Among the followers of the Vedic way, the Shalagram Shila, the Vigraha of Narayan, is worshipped in the form of a stone ball. In India, every Brahmin still worships the Shalagram Shila in his home. The Vaishyas and Kshatriyas may also engage in this worship, but it is compulsory in the house of a Brahmin. The other room was for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lunch. The Lord's lunchroom was very secluded, and it was newly constructed by the Bhattacharya. The room was so constructed that there was only one door opening on the outside, which served as an entrance for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was another door attached to the kitchen, and it was through this door that the food was brought. First, 3 manas of cooked rice, almost 6 pounds, were poured onto a big banana leaf, purple. This is the beginning of a description of the food prepared for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This description is given by Kaviraj Goswami, who, it is assumed, was an expert cook who knew both how to prepare and how to serve food. Then The whole stack of rice was mixed with so much yellowish and fragrant clarified butter that it began to overflow the leaf. There were a number of pots made of the bark of banana trees and the leaves of the kea plant. These pots were filled with various cooked vegetables and placed on all sides of the leaf. There were about 10 kinds of spinach, a soup called shukta, which was made with bitter nimba leaves, a pungent preparation made with black pepper, a mild cake made of fried curd, and buttermilk mixed with all small fried pieces of dal. There were preparations of dugda tumbi, dugda kushmanda, vesara, lapra, mocha ganta, mocha bhaja, and other vegetables. There were unlimited quantities of bija kushmanda badi, pula badi, fruits, and various roots. Other preparations included eggplant mixed with newly grown nimba leaves fried together, light badi, fried patola, and fried rounds of squash and pumpkin. There was a soup made with a fried urad dal, a mung dal, defeating nectar. There were also sweet chutney and 5 or 6 kinds of sour preparations, beginning with badam la. There were badas made of mung dal, of urad dal, and of sweet bananas, and there were sweet rice cakes, coconut cakes, and various other cakes. There were kanji bada, dugda chida, dugda laklani, and various cakes that I am unable to describe. Sweet rice mixed with ghee was poured into an earthen pot and mixed with champa kala, condensed milk, and mango. Other preparations included a very delicious churned curd and a variety of sandesh sweetmeats. Indeed, all the various eatables available in Bengal and Orissa were prepared. Thus, the Bhattacharya prepared a great variety of food and spread a fine cloth over a white wooden platform. On 2 sides of the stack of food were pitchers filled with scented cold water. The flowers of the tulsi tree were placed atop of the mound of rice. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also included several types of food that had been offered to Lord Jagannath. These included sweet balls known as Amrita Gutika, sweet rice, and cakes. All these were kept separate. Purple. Although the remnants of food left by Jagannath were brought into the Bhattacharya's house, they were kept separate from the preparations he had made at his home. It sometimes happened that prasadam was mixed with a larger quantity of food and then distributed, but in this case we find that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya kept the Jagannath Prasad separate. He kept it aside particularly for the satisfaction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When everything was ready, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there alone after finishing his midday duties. He knew the heart of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. After Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya washed the Lord's feet, the Lord entered the room to take his lunch. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a little astonished to see the gorgeous arrangement, and gesturing, he spoke to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. This is most uncommon. How was this arrangement of rice and vegetables finished within 6 hours? Even 100 men cooking on 100 stoves could not possibly finish all these preparations within so short a time. I hope the food has already been offered to Krishna, since I see there are tulsi flowers on it. You are most fortunate, and your endeavor is successful, for you have offered such wonderful food to Radha and Krishna. The color of the rice is so attractive and its aroma so good that it appears Radha and Krishna have directly taken it. My dear Bhattacharya, your fortune is very great. How much shall I praise you? I also am very fortunate to be able to take the remnants of this food. Take away Krishna's sitting place and put it aside, then give me prasadam on a different plate. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, It is not so wonderful, my Lord. Everything has been made possible by the energy and mercy of him who will eat the food. My wife and I did not especially exert ourselves in the cooking. He, by whose power the food has been prepared, knows everything. Now please sit in this place and take your lunch. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, this place is worshipable because it was used by Krishna. Purport. According to etiquette, things used by Krishna should not be used by anyone else. Similarly, things used by the spiritual master should also not be used by anyone else. That is etiquette. Whatever is used by Krishna or the spiritual master is worshipable. In particular, their sitting or eating places should not be used by anyone else. A devotee must be very careful to observe this. The Bhattacharya said, both the food and the sitting place are the Lord's mercy. If you can eat the remnants of the food, what is the offense in your sitting in this place? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, yes, you have spoken correctly. The Shastras enjoin that the devotee can partake of everything left by Krishna. My dear Lord, the garlands, scented substances, garments, ornaments, and other things that have been offered to you may later be used by your servants. By partaking of these things and eating the remnants of food you have left, we will be able to conquer the illusory energy. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto. In the Hare Krishna movement, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the dancing in ecstasy, and the eating of the remnants of food offered to the Lord are very, very important. One may be illiterate or incapable of understanding the philosophy, but if he partakes of these items, these three items, he will certainly be liberated without delay. This verse was spoken by Uddhava to Lord Krishna. This was during the time when Uddhava Gita was spoken. At that time, there was some disturbance in Dwarka, and Lord Krishna had decided to leave the material world and enter the spiritual world. Uddhava could understand the situation, and he talked with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The verse quoted above is an excerpt from their conversation. Sri Krishna's pastimes in this material world are called Prakata Lila, manifest pastimes, and his pastimes in the spiritual world are called Aprakata Lila, unmanifest pastimes. By unmanifested we mean that they are not present before our eyes. It is not that Lord Krishna's pastimes are non-existent. They are going on exactly as the sun is shining perpetually. But when the sun is present before our eyes, we call it daytime or manifest. When it is not present, we call it nighttime or unmanifest. Those who are above the jurisdiction of night are always in the spiritual world, whereas the Lord's pastimes are manifest to them. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Ladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual ras. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. Brahma-samhita 5:37 and 38. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, there is so much food here, it is impossible to eat it all. The Bhattacharya replied, I know how much you can eat. After all, at Jagannath Puri, you eat 52 times a day, and each time you eat hundreds of buckets filled with prasadam. At Dwarka, you keep 16,000 queens in 16,000 palaces. Also, there are 18 mothers and numerous friends and relatives of the Yadu dynasty. In Vrindavan, you also have your father's elder brothers, your father's younger brothers, maternal uncles, husbands of your father's sisters, and many cowherd men. There are also cowherd boyfriends and you eat twice a day, morning and evening, in the house of each and every one. Purport. In Dwarka, Lord Krishna had 18 mothers, Devaki, Rohini, and others. Besides these was his foster mother, Yashoda, in Vrindavan. Lord Krishna also had many uncles, as stated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Brihat Sri Sri Radha Krishna Ganodesha Dipika. The elder brothers of Nanda Maharaj were Upananda and Abhinanda. Similarly, in the same verse, the names of the younger brothers of Nanda Maharaj are given, Sananda and Nandana, also known as Sunanda and Padma, were the younger brothers of Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj. Sri Krishna's maternal uncles are also described in this book in verse 46. Yashodhara, Yasodeva, and Sudeva were the maternal uncles of Krishna. Also mentioned in the Radha Krishna Ganodesha Dipika are Krishna's uncles who were the husbands of Nanda Maharaj's sisters. Mahanila and Sunila are the husband of Krishna's aunts. Indeed, the Bhattacharya continued, at the Govardhan Puja ceremony, you ate stacks of rice. In comparison to that, this small quantity is not even a morsel for you. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas I am a most insignificant living being. Therefore, please accept a little quantity of food from my house. Purport. A sannyasi is expected to collect a little food from each and every householder. That is to say, he should take whatever he requires to eat. This system is called madhukari. The word madhukari comes from the word madhukara and means honey collecting bees. Bees collect a little honey from each flower, but all these small quantities of honey accumulate to become a bee honey. Sannyasis should collect a little from each and every householder and should eat simply what is necessary to maintain the body. Being a sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could collect a little food from the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and this was the Bhattacharya's request. Compared to the food eaten by the Lord on other occasions, the Bhattacharya's feast was not even a morsel. This is what the Bhattacharya is pointing out to the Lord. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and sat down to eat. The Bhattacharya, with great pleasure, first offered him the prasadam from the Jagannath temple. At this time, the Bhattacharya had a son-in-law named Amoga, who was the husband of his daughter Sati. Although born in an aristocratic Brahmin family, Amoga was a great fault finder and blasphemer. Amoga wanted to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat, but he was not allowed to enter. Indeed, the Bhattacharya guarded the threshold of his house with a stick in his hand. However, as soon as the Bhattacharya began distributing prasadam and was a little inattentive, Amoga came in. Seeing the quantity of food, he began to blaspheme. This much food is sufficient to satisfy 10 or 12 men, but this sannyasi alone is eating so much. As soon as Amoga said this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya turned his eyes upon him. Seeing the Bhattacharya's attitude, Amoga immediately left. The Bhattacharya ran after him to strike him with a stick, but Amoga fled so fast that the Bhattacharya could not catch him. The Bhattacharya then began to curse his son-in-law and call him ill names. When the Bhattacharya returned, he saw that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing to hear him criticize Amoga. When Sati's mother, the Bhattacharya's wife, heard of this incident, she immediately began to strike her head and chest, saying again and again, let Sati become a widow. Seeing the lamentation of both husband and wife, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to pacify them. According to their desire, he ate the prasadam and was very satisfied. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished eating, the Bhattacharya poured water for the Lord to wash his mouth, hands and legs, and offered him favourite spices, tulsi manjaris, cloves, and cardamom. The Bhattacharya then placed a flower garland over Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and smeared his body with sandalwood pulp. After offering obeisances, the Bhattacharya submitted the following humble statement. I brought you to my home just to have you blasphemed. This is a great offense. Please excuse me. I beg your pardon. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what Amoga has said is correct. Therefore, it is not blasphemy. What is your offense? After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and returned to his residence. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya followed him. Falling down at the Lord's feet, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said many things in self-reproach. The Lord then pacified him and sent him back to his home. After returning to his home, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya consulted with his wife, the mother of Sati. After personally condemning himself, he began to speak as follows. If the man who blasphemed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was killed, his sinful reaction may be atoned. Purport. The Hari Bhaktivilas cites the following quotation from the Skanda Purana concerning the blaspheming of a Vaishnava. In a conversation between Markandeya and Bhagirath, it is said, my dear king, one who derides an exalted devotee loses the results of his pious activities, his opulence, his reputation, and his sons. Vaishnavas are all great souls. Whoever blasphemes them falls down to the hell known as Maharovara, accompanied by his forefathers. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnava, and whoever is envious of a Vaishnava or angry with him, or whoever does not offer him obeisances or feel joy upon seeing him, certainly falls into a hellish condition. Also, the Hari Bhaktivilas gives the following quotation from Dwarka Mahatmya. In a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, it is said, those sinful people who blaspheme Vaishnavas, who are all great souls, are subjected very severely to the punishment offered by Yamaraj. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami quotes the statement concerning the blaspheming of Lord Vishnu. One who criticizes Lord Vishnu and his devotees loses all the benefits accrued in 100 pious births. Such a person rots in the Kumbhipaka hell and is bitten by worms as long as the sun and the moon exist. One should therefore not even see the face of a person who blasphemes Lord Vishnu or his devotees. Never try to associate with such persons. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami further quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. If one does not immediately leave upon hearing the Lord or the Lord's devotee blaspheme, he falls down from devotional service. Similarly, Lord Shiva's wife Sati states in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, if one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, he should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender, and after that he should give up his own life. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued. Or, if I give up my own life, this sinful action may be atoned. However, neither of these ideas is befitting because such bodies belong to Brahmins. Instead, I shall never see the face of that blasphemer. I reject him and give up my relationship with him. I shall never even speak his name. Inform my daughter Sati to abandon her relationship with her husband because he has fallen down. When the husband falls down, it is the wife's duty to relinquish that relationship. Purport. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya considered that if Amoga was killed, the killer would suffer sinful reactions for killing the body of a Brahmin. For the same reason, it would have been undesirable for the Bhattacharya to commit suicide because he was also a Brahmin. Since neither course could be accepted, the Bhattacharya decided to give up his relationship with Amoga and never see his face. As far as killing the body of a Brahmin is concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, gives the following injunction concerning a Brahma Bandhu, a person born of a Brahmin father but devoid of Brahminical qualities. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna said, a Brahma Bandhu is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. Quoting from Smriti, Srila Sridhar Swami comments on this quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. An aggressor intent on killing may be very learned scholar of Vedanta, yet he should be killed because of his envy in killing others. In such a case, it is not sinful to kill a Brahmin. Also in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, it is stated, cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for a Brahma Bandhu. There is no injunction for killing the body. As far as Sati, the daughter of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was concerned, she was advised to give up her relationship with her husband. Concerning this, Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto states, one cannot be a husband if he cannot liberate his dependents from inevitable death. If a person is not in Krishna consciousness and is bereft of spiritual power, he cannot protect his wife from the path of repeated birth and death. Consequently, such a person cannot be accepted as a husband. A wife should dedicate her life and everything to Krishna for further advancement in Krishna consciousness. If her husband abandons Krishna consciousness and she gives up her connection with him, she follows in the footsteps of the Dvija Patnis, the wives of the Brahmins who are engaged in performing sacrifices. The wife is not to be condemned for cutting such a relationship. In this regard, Sri Krishna assures the Dvija Patnis in Srimad Bhagavatam, my dear Dvija Patnis, rest assured that your husbands will not neglect you on your return, nor will your brothers, sons, or fathers refuse to accept you. Because you are my pure devotees, not only your relatives, but also people in general, as well as the demigods, will be satisfied with you. Transcendental love for me does not depend on bodily connection, but anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association. When a husband is fallen, one's relationship with him must be given up. This is a quotation from the Smriti Shastra. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, a wife who is satisfied, who is not greedy, who is expert and knows religious principles, who speaks what is dear and truthful and is not bewildered, and who is always clean and affectionate, shall be very much devoted to her husband, if he is not fallen. That night Amoga, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, fled, and in the morning he immediately fell sick with cholera. When the Bhattacharya heard that Amoga was dying of cholera, he thought, it is the favour of Providence that he is doing what I want him to do. When one offends the Supreme Personality of Godhead, karma immediately takes effect. After saying this, he recited 2 verses from the revealed scriptures. What we have had to arrange with great endeavour by collecting elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry soldiers has already been accomplished by the Gandharvas. This is a quotation from the Mahabharata. Bhimasena made the statement when all the Pandavas were living in exile in the forest. At that time, there was a fight between the Kauravas and the Gandharvas. The Kaurava soldiers were under the command of Karna, but the commander-in-chief of the Gandharvas was able to arrest all the Kauravas by virtue of superior military strength. At that time, Duryodhana's ministers and commanders requested Maharaj Yudhisthira to help. After being thus petitioned, Bhimasena spoke of the verse above, remembering Duryodhana's former nefarious and atrocious activities against them. Indeed, Bhimasena felt it very fitting that Duryodhana and his company were arrested. This could have been accomplished by the Pandavas only with great endeavour. When a person mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions, and good fortune are all destroyed. This statement from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto was made by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. This quotation concerns the attempted killing of Krishna's sister, Yogamaya, who appeared before Krishna's birth as the daughter of Mother Yashoda. This daughter, Yogamaya, and Krishna were born simultaneously, and Vasudeva replaced Yogamaya with Krishna and took Yogamaya away. When she was brought to Mathura and Kamsa attempted to kill her, Yogamaya slipped out of his hands. She could not be killed. She then informed Kamsa about the birth of his enemy Krishna, and being thus baffled, Kamsa consulted his associates, who were all demons. When this big conspiracy was taking place, this verse was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. He points out that a demon can lose everything because of his nefarious activities. The word Mahat Atikrama, meaning envy of Lord Vishnu and his devotees, is significant in this verse. The word Mahat indicates a great personality, a devotee, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Being always engaged in the Lord's service, the devotees themselves are as great as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Mahat is also explained by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 9:13. Mahatmanastu mam parta daivan prakritim ashritaha vajanti anyanya manaso natva bhutadam avyayam. O son of Krita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Being envious of the Lord and his devotees is not at all auspicious for a demon. By such envy, a demon loses everything considered beneficial. So it's finished there. Text 271 from tomorrow. Try. Really make the stuff. Don't mess with devotees. So. Very, very careful. It's a joke.
What's the question?
It's too subtle. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.